Hi, Jim Ziegler, the Alpha Dawg, and I've got another incredible show. Now, I say that quite often, but this week it really is an incredible show. Today, I've got some of the movers and shakers and top guns at the Zeigler organization, Zeigler Automotive. Other than the fact that they misspell their name, this is a really great organization. People always ask me, Jim, are you related to Zeigler Automotive? And no, I'm not. I'm not related to Zig Ziglar either. I know we get that a lot. But okay, first of all, the top slot here, Aaron Zeigler. Say hello, Aaron.
Hey, Jim. Thanks for having us on today.
Oh, I am honored that you're on. Joe St. Germain, how you doing?
I'm doing great, sir. Thank you. Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Where are you today?
I'm just outside of Chicago at our brand new Cadillac store.
Okay, Bill, what's going on with you?
Yeah, how you doing, Jim? Glad to be on the show today. We appreciate that. I'm in Schaumburg, Illinois, actually just down the street from Joe.
Been there many, many times. Well, today what we're going to talk about is what makes the Zeigler organization unique. For years I've heard about 31 franchises, 77 franchises, 31 locations. Aaron, what makes you guys so distinguished? What makes you different?
I think it really comes down to our culture, Jim, and our people are what make up the culture. Guys like Joe and Bill, and we always talk about. You hear every organization say, "Hey, we want to make our customers happy," but we really focus on making sure our employees are happy first and foremost. And we feel if we take care of our employees and we have a pretty extensive recruiting team. It starts with them, and they hire the right people. We hire a lot of people from outside the industry. We hire a lot of athletes. When we go to colleges to recruit, we don't go to the career fairs. We go to the college football coach or basketball coach, or we go right to the business professors and ask them who their brightest kids are.
So you're looking for team players.
That's exactly it. And we're looking for things that we can't teach. So we can't teach somebody to want it. We can't teach them to be competitive. But we can teach them the car business. We can teach them processes and stuff like that. So we're looking for people that are leaders that we can develop into being better leaders. And so what happens is when somebody comes into the organization, we've got a very extensive development program. It starts day one. We call it our Keys to Success. It's a kind of a new hire orientation program that explains to them what our expectations are and how we do things and how we treat customers. And then it never really ends. We're consistently training our people, and they have opportunities to take on bigger roles. And from day one, we lay out a career path for them. And both Joe and Bill are great examples of that, where they've taken on much bigger roles in the organization than they started with. And both these guys are running, 5 or 6 stores and overseeing, $500-600 million worth of sales business now.
Joe, I'm hearing about constant ongoing training of existing employees. Now, when I got into car business in 1976, they threw me in a room with a bunch of Jackie B. Cooper tapes and said, "Don't come out till you're trained." What's different about today, Joe?
Well, like you, I go back to 90, and back then it was, here's the guy you're going to shadow for a week, and if he says you don't got it, you're out of here in a week. So I'm with you there. Aaron has done such a great job with the company, and as far as the culture goes, even me, I'm still there's constantly classes, there's guest speakers, and I've been with the company for 14 years, and I'm still, doing these things, wanting to do these things and engage with these things. But our seasoned veterans, it's a cultural thing. You want to constantly keep developing, you want to constantly keep learning, keep growing. Technology-wise, we keep up on things as much as we can, but it's just a lot of training across the board, and it's not just individualized training. I'll be in the same training as a new salesman. We all share the same thing. We're all after the same goal, and there's there's a lot of, it's a team atmosphere, and we're all training and learning together every day.
So the constant ongoing training. every single day you're training and retraining the same people?
Well, there's different levels of training. So on a daily basis, we review, we've got, let's say videos, training videos. We're required to watch these videos, a minimum of 15 a week. So every day I'm walking through the showroom, guys are watching their videos. They're learning new things. They're picking up things. You know what I mean? I'm on those same videos, watching those things. And, we're on calls, group calls, learning about new processes. You know what I mean? We're just revamping our time clock process. There's something we're all together, everyone's on it. We're learning new things. So obviously it's not just training to sell, it's training to learn our processes and the Zeigler way of doing things. So it never ends.
Bill, Joe just mentioned technology. You mentioned constant ongoing training. We're in the middle of a major paradigm shift in the car business. Everything changed. COVID changed everything. What changes are you dealing with, and how are you dealing with them?
God, what a fantastic question. Well, Jim, it was a pleasure talking with you. I know we talked briefly on Saturday, and an amazing story that actually you've been longer at it than I have. So we kind of go back, and I started in '76 also as a porter, but when we think back early in the day of how we retailed cars, when I first started, like Joe said, they throw you on a desk and we come out and we attempt to sell a car without computers. We didn't have anything back in the day on how we started. What is using stock cards and stock card trades?
And key and a Rolodex.
That's right.
And using the Jackie Cooper up to slogan. Yeah, so that goes way back, but it's with the digital retailing today. When you think about the devices that we all have, all the multiple devices, whether it's our iPhone, our iPad, or our desktop, or it's LinkedIn, or it's Facebook, or Instagram, the connection with the consumer today has completely changed. And during the COVID era, we've learned a lot of things, and I can tell you. What has transpired through what we've learned based on inventories in communication with the customer, and how we can take a car from start to finish, right from the beginning, right, and do a deal completely online. It doesn't mean we aren't still talking with them, but just the transition now and how many deals we are able to do out of state, and the percentages continue to go up. It's just been an amazing transition.
Well, Bill, I have to ask you, how many deals are you doing completely online? How many deals are being done with minimal human interaction?
Well, if we look at our numbers, in fact, I just was talking to our team about that today. I mean, in January at our Mercedes store, we ran about 36% out of state, which is all online. We still had interaction with them on the phone, but we shipped a car, we made the deal, did all the transactions online. The paperwork was sent out to them and came back, but it's amazing. It continues to grow and grow and get bigger and bigger. I mean, now your
market area is now the entire country.
Yeah, with technology, it's really done that, Jim. And I think 100% of customers certainly use technology and go online. It's a very small percentage that'll do a deal 100% online, because they got to talk to somebody at some point to have the confidence and the trust to move forward with the deal. So they might get 95% of the way there, 97% of the way there, and then you're going to have that human interaction.
Aaron, I was speaking to Rudy Thun at Roadster this morning about a 2-hour conversation, and the statistics are bearing out what you just said. People are doing a lot of the transaction online, and I like to do the paperwork before I see the doctor, but they're still physically coming to the dealership to end the transaction, is what I'm experiencing.
Or if we do a lot of, if we're doing out-of-state deliveries, and we'll still talk to them on the phone, and with Zoom today and stuff, it's really easy to be able to do that. But it's so complex of a transaction with a car that you're going to have a question that a computer can't answer at some point, and that's where you want to talk to somebody out there. That's why I think very, very few of them go 100% without ever talking to a human.
How's that sit with you, Joe? Is that what you're experiencing?
Absolutely. No, the guys are spot on. I still, obviously, I still think customers still want that interaction. I think it's 90% they want to be able to sit at home in their PJs and go through all the rigmarole, which another thing that's kind of changed is, we get to a point now where we're agreeing to a price online, and we're kind of, with the customers, and they're coming in, we treat them as a VIP, and we got the car ready to go, sales, representatives ready to go, and they kind of cut out a whole lot of that, the time, that they used to spend in the show. They're not shopping, going from dealer to dealer down the street no more, like in our days. They're doing it all from home now. So not only are they shopping, now they're buying, but I still think it's still that we're not there yet, where they still kind of want to come in, especially locally. They want to come in, they want to touch it, see it, they want to talk to somebody, and then finally have that last experience. That's why it's so important when you finally do get them in, that you have that special experience in the dealership and make it, unique.
Well, guys, I've talked to just about virtually every digital marketing company that's sprung up recently, and most of them are in agreement that the customers are reluctant to do the finance part completely online. That still seems to be the hang-up. Is that what we're experiencing?
Yeah, I think so.
Well, yeah, I think that's a part of it. I mean, I got some stats here, Jim.
Yeah, please.
86% of shoppers would buy a car online. This is a current stat. But what's an amazing stat is 34% of the shoppers will shop outside of normal business hours. I mean, that's constant. It continues to grow. But I agree. We do get some financing out of state, and we're getting it online. But I think that trend's going to continue to grow. But I agree with Joe in that the customer still wants that experience to come into the store, but they are now taking the steps of the whole process now where everything's ready to go when they get in, and they can have that experience when they take delivery. But we're seeing more and more that people, based on all the technology that we have, to take that delivery out of state and or deliver to their home even locally here in our market.
Wow. Aaron, I've worked with a lot of big dealer groups in years past, and this is our first experience. How uniform are your processes from dealership to dealership?
We're pretty consistent with that, Jim. When we buy a new dealership, we always put the same vendors in. So we have the same package, we have the same DMS, same CRM. But then I let the guys run the stores. Bill and Joe, they really function like the dealer principal, and I'm gonna let them put their own flair on it. And there's different ways to skin a cat, right? So and I think that's what's exciting to them. I say if there's 100 decisions to be made, they're going to make 98 decisions, and I'll probably make 2, and it works out pretty well that way. But overall, we're very similar. We meet once a month with the team, with all the general managers, and we basically have our own 20 group. So everybody brings a best idea, and that's a way that we share a lot of ideas in the organization of things that are working, and we can roll things out very, very quickly if something's really working well in a particular dealership.
Now, Joe, you've got 6 stores, 7 stores. How have you had to alter your processes this year with COVID and with the digital retailing coming on strong? What major changes have you made in your selling processes?
Well, I tell you, this is probably off kilter of what most people will say, but culturally, it is. We've changed. I mean, we've always had a great culture, and we've always been great with the sales staff, but keeping that positivity level up with those guys and the teams, and keeping everybody positive, like, hey, we're going to get through this, everything's going to be great. You always come to work with a rah, 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 we're going to sell cars, you know what I mean? But this was a different thing, or a different kind of beast that none of us really knew what was going on.
Nobody.
No, and it was, and 9/11 was a quick fast, but we rock and rolled after 9/11, and it was over a day or two as far as the shock of it and everything else. This was something that, none of us had seen before. But you know what? It started at the top, obviously, with Aaron, and we're all kind of guys where, I don't care about Santa Claus. I don't care about labor. I just want to go to work, sell cars, make money, you know what I mean? And provide a good service, and that's what we did every day. So it really wasn't a huge difference. I mean, obviously we still have customers coming in the door, but digitally wise, and that's what's great about the technology, we were able to shift And for us, we have BDC departments, so a lot more of the selling went to the BDC department as far as that first contact with the clients on the phone, convincing them that we have a safe environment and that we're good. If they wanted to come in, great, we'd be prepared for them. If they didn't, we could handle it all online, and take care of as much as we could there. So definitely some different nuances with the shift of how we communicate with the customer and making them feel comfortable about coming in or comfortable about not coming in and buying, from home too. So,
the other big thing that we did, Jim, was we've always tried to communicate well with our employees. And I do a video once or twice a month to the entire organization. But when COVID hit, things were moving so fast and the rules were different in different states that we do business in. And sometimes you'd have one set of rules in the morning and another set in the afternoon, that we got to the point where I was doing 2 to 3 videos a day to the organization. And a lot of that was just there's a lot of false information out there in the news media, and the news media was trying to scare the heck out of everybody. And it was just kind of calming everybody down and telling them what our strategy was going forward. And then I let everybody send me emails on questions, because if they had a question, probably everybody else did. I answered all their questions on video to get back with them. And I think that communication really helps to keep us strong as a team to really get us through COVID. And we looked at when like in Michigan, for example, we literally could not sell cars for 30 days. They shut down all dealerships. They shut down the second.
Yeah, yes, they did.
So what we did is we bring in speakers once a month, big time speakers into the organization, and we called every speaker up that had ever come and said, "Hey, would you do a free Zoom call with us?" And we had like 26 speakers in 30 days. So even though our people were at home, they were still engaged with these speakers, and we talked a lot about what it was going to be like after things opened back up. And we talked about really trying to get separation from the competition. We talked about being able to grow out of the pandemic. The other thing that we did was we said, we're going to try to go out and buy a ton of cars right now. And at the time when everything was shut down, this was before everybody realized there was going to be a shortage. We kind of hit this thing right, and we bought thousands of cars, both new and used. So we turned a lot of our salespeople into buyers for us. And so we were really kind of stockpiled with cars. So all of a sudden last year in June, as things started opening back up, we had our biggest month ever. And the last 2 months, we've exceeded our volume. We've had record months both months. And part of that was because we've been building up this inventory. So as tough as the chip shortage is right now, we're maybe not quite as in quite a tough a position as what everybody else is.
Well, that is incredible, because excuse me, most dealers right now are struggling with inventory. It's going to be an even great. So you had the foresight to buy those cars in advance. Now Bill, Joe mentioned BDC a minute ago. Tell me about your BDC philosophy.
So our BDC philosophy, you're talking to me, right, Jim?
Yes.
Okay. So we have a BDC rep, and my philosophy on BDC is excellent. Just another for us to connect with the consumer and to stay on top of all the traction that we have as far as leads and leads that we have provided, to make sure we're doing everything we can to get that accomplished. I know with Joe's side, we all look at it a little bit different. I have my managers on top of our BDC agents follow up and follow through with our consumers to make sure we're in complete contact to try to drive those sales and drive that traffic.
Okay, so they're confirming the appointments and doing all the things they should be doing.
You can't do enough of it. I mean, with the marketplace today and all the accessibility for the consumer online to connect, you got to stay engaged with the customer, do everything we can to keep that customer engaged, to get them into the showroom or drive them to a sale for us. And I think it's very important.
Now, your BDC, are they making outbound calls as well as taking inbounds?
That's correct. They'll make the outbound calls with the connection on the first visit with the customer, and they'll make outbound calls, and then we'll follow up with a proposal to the customer and follow up with a manager call to the customer, and then we take the additional steps to do what we can to try to drive that traffic.
How much data mining are you doing, Joe?
A lot, especially right now. And you know, what's amazing is right now with the technology and with the new car deal is you know, our data mining is you know, instead of the call to action and trade your car, we're offering to buy their cars. I mean, we're thinking outside. You know, we're thinking outside. Yeah, so we're hitting our database pretty hard. So, hey, you know, come in, buy a new car. We'll trade in your car. Or
I just submitted my article this morning for Digital Dealer Magazine, and part of what I talked about in the article is dealers need to have an aggressive program to buy new inventory. You know, Facebook Marketplace, Craigslist, wherever cars are advertised, we need to basically go after it and buy more vehicles. So you're already ahead of that, it sounds like.
Well, it's definitely something. I mean, you know, again, you know, quite a ways back, we decided, hey, we got to get aggressive, you know, with inventory, because Aaron seems to have a gift with foresight. I'm not sure what's going on there, kind of spooky sometimes, but it's awesome and it works out great for everybody. But he definitely can kind of call things months ahead. So we jump, we act, and fortunately, you know, knock on wood, it's helped us out quite a bit. I mean, on the Chrysler side, you know, we've gotten, you know, very aggressive, you know. And basically, believe it or not, up until a few months ago, there were dealers passing on cars. So guess who wants them? Us. We'll take them all. You know what I mean? And you know, so we just got aggressive with this stuff. You know, and I know it's, you know, even used cars. I mean, I'm down the street from a Toyota dealer that's got 16 used cars on the lot. You know what I mean? Why is that? Because they don't want to step up and pay the money. But it's like, you know, hey, you know, you can't sell from an empty shelf. You know, so get out there, you know, data mine, get a hold of your customers, offer, because the bottom line is, you know, if we can buy it from the customers, that's just that much easier for us. You know what I mean? And plus, you'd be surprised customers get happy. They bring their car into us and we buy it from them, and all of a sudden they're buying another car, or we help them out of the spot where they wanted to get rid of their car and we get them checked. So it's win-win all the way around.
Fantastic.
Yeah, Jim, I'll just add to that if I can, just the data mining with the service department. Service department's a gold mine.
Absolutely. Most dealerships, 50% of the people in the service drive did not buy the car from you.
That's correct.
I mean, so you've got all this opportunity to not only buy cars, but recapture people that didn't buy the car the first time from you.
100%. Whether you do a direct mail piece or some of the companies that we use a data mine with Auto Alert or Automotive Mastermind or some of those tools that we use, and we mail out to customers and a proposal, they can get out of their car and come back in and get something new and drop their payment. I mean, those are just strong tools, but the key is following through and following up on that process and the opportunity with the market out there. Our service department, our own customer base is a tremendous opportunity. And with the used car values just going up and up and up and up, it creates a bigger opportunity right now to get that car, get them out early and put them in something new right now.
I'm a big fan of Automotive Mastermind. I could see where that would be a big benefit to an organization like yours. Aaron, what marketing are you doing in today's market? What are your most productive marketing avenues? What are you doing across the chain? What are dealerships doing?
You know, our website is always number one. That's always our best source. And then our customer base. Anybody that we've done business with before is always bears the best fruit. They know us, and we know them. And like Joe said, we've been really aggressive from a data mining standpoint. And you know, we're able to pull people out of leases now 18, 24 months ahead of schedule, and they're even par with the lease, and they don't know what they are. So we're kind of bringing people into the market that we wouldn't normally do.
Well, I just found out that I've got a 2019 Q7 Audi, and I thought that was going to be a 39-month lease no matter what. I have equity already.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it's a great position to be in, and because residuals are high, payments are pretty low on new vehicles too. So it fits well, and that's why I think one of the reasons sales are so high right now.
So your past customers are your best and cheapest source of new business. What other marketing venues are you using? Are you out there using Facebook, the social media? Are you using the vendors? How are you driving traffic other than that?
Yeah, really all of the above. And we do most of that at the store level, but we're on basically every social media platform that there is. And then Joe and Bill, if you guys want to talk specifically about what you're doing.
Yeah, that's what I was asking. Are you centralized or are you doing it individual stores?
We don't. We do it by market. We let the guys make their own decisions on that, because all of a sudden what's working now won't be working in 6 months, and what worked 6 months ago won't work now. It moves fast.
Yes, it does.
Guys that are on the front line really have a feel for that. And I think it's impossible for us to sit back at a corporate level and be able to move.
Wow, I've not heard that from anybody besides myself. That's an interesting concept. In the 80s, when I was a DJ, there was a nightclub in Jacksonville that everybody used to go to, and they had a hell of a band. It was called The Second Coming, and the band changed their name a couple of years later to the Allman Brothers Band, and they were the house band. But all of a sudden, I go in there one night and there's nobody in it. There's 300 people in there every night, and then nobody there. And I asked the waitress, where did the crowd go? She said, well, a new nightclub opened. They got a new band called the Leonard Skinner Band, and everybody went over there. The crowd moved. And I tell people, you never know in advertising when the crowd's going to move.
And this is one of the things that we talk about in our monthly meetings with our guys of, hey, what's not working anymore and what is, and that's why we're constantly making adjustments with our advertising, and it's really an art.
That's profound. That's extremely profound. Joe, take up on that subject a second.
Well, it's interesting because, we grew up in a time where there was really just print and TV and radio. You know what I mean? And now those things have pretty much gotten to a dead point. But
print newspaper's only effective if you're training a puppy.
Right. Exactly. But what I've learned and what I've noticed and what I think a lot of dealers miss on is I still fundamentally treat it the same. I mean, what did we do back in the days when we did print ads? We looked at our print ad every week. We made adjustments. We based off our sales log, how many people were coming in with the print ad, and we changed it. I still review all our digital marketing and advertising on a weekly basis. And what's amazing about it now is we can get it down to a granular area where we can really dial in and see exactly what's working, what's not. I mean, you can, with PPC, I mean, pay-per-click, you can spend money, and go, but you can see where it actually stops. You know what I mean? So, okay, I'm spending $100 a month, but I'm not getting any more for $100,000 a month than I was at $60,000. So let's back it down to $60,000. It's so much more detailed, but you still have to watch it. You have to review it. You have to analyze it every single week and get down to the nitty gritty and see what's working and what's not. And for older guys, like me, I'm 50 and, I still use just the fundamental principles that we always used back in the day with
I have underwear older than you.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah. All right, guys.
Take up on that subject, Bill.
Yeah, well, with Joe, we used to advertise back in the day, back in the 80s. Oh my God, we spend 100 G's a month in the Detroit News and Free Press running big full page ads on a Sunday, and who could in the paper? I'll never forget it. It was just loaded full of car dealers in there, just full sections of car dealers. And we look at what has changed today in the game. I mean, we do some Facebook videos that we send out, and I've done some personal videos I do on Facebook. We've also got to be engaged on all those platforms out there, and they're effective. I mean, they continue to be effective, and I don't see it changing anytime soon. But like what you talk about, what's new and what we shift to, and what we got to learn. What Aaron's done with our group, with our monthly general manager meetings, and we share our best practices and best ideas, and there's so much knowledge that we pick up and learn on what's working for all of us, and it's just powerful. It's powerful as we take that forward. Then we implement those back in our stores and make them happen and help drive it, and we pick up from amongst ourselves, and it's very powerful stuff. Me, when I was a dealer back in the day, I wasn't engaged in it. I wasn't in part of a 20 group. We didn't have that, and I was going by the seat of my pants trying to figure it out. And it wasn't the same. Nothing like we do today. So it's powerful.
I'm a huge believer in 20 groups. I advocate that to every dealer I speak with you, and not just a golf group. I'm talking about a working 20 group.
Right. Not just a vacation. Yeah.
Not just a vacation, and implement things you pick up. Aaron, what do you see in the next couple of months? What's coming?
We're in kind of crazy times right now, Jim. The grosses have never been higher because of the demand is far outstripping supply. And I think demand's going to stay very strong. The government's throwing a ton of money out there, but the economy hasn't fully opened up yet. And it's going to start to open up. And, I've been telling our guys, the economy opens up person by person. So when somebody gets vaccinated, in their mind, the economy's open and they're back out, right? So over the next few months, you're going to see more and more people get back to working in offices. And, at some point, things will get back to as normal as they were before, but business is going to get better and better. And, in big markets, like we're talking like Chicago, I think everybody's going back to personal transportation. It used to be a lot of people rode the train to work, and I don't see people going back to riding the train to work anymore into Chicago. So I think there's a paradigm shift back to personal transportation going forward. But, inventory is going to be the name of the game. And whichever manufacturer, you could take the weakest manufacturer in the world right now, and if they can produce cars, they are going to be a huge winner out there. So when you look at sales on these manufacturers going forward in the next couple of quarters, throw out what you know about who's the strong brand and the weak brand. It's just going to be whoever has cars. And whoever has cars, whoever's least affected by this chip thing is going to be the big winner out there. And then, from a dealer standpoint, the dealers that are going to win are the ones that are going to have inventory. And the guys that get creative out there to find that inventory, they're going to be the big winners. And it's right now you got to pay a lot of money to buy inventory. And if you're looking at books and stuff like that, it doesn't make any sense. But we think the price is going to keep going right up. So I tell our guys, buy every used car you can right now, because they're going to be more expensive in 2 months and 3 months from now. We've always been on a strict inventory turn. And the reason being is because cars depreciate. We told our guys, hey, forget about a turn right now.
Wow, I wrote that last night in the article I just submitted. Forget about inventory.
Yeah.
You and I are thinking so much alike.
We literally had this meeting about a month ago with our guys. I said, guys, you're not going to believe me. This is the first time I've ever said this in my life. Forget about your inventory, about a 60-day turn or a 90-day turn on overage inventory, because it's going to appreciate. So at some point it's going to max out, and then it'll only come down slowly, because the chip thing isn't going to all of a sudden get fixed one day, and everybody has inventory. It's going to be a very slow buildup. And the manufacturers that I talk to, they're not going to be able to build any stock until probably well into 2022. So
It's amazing. It's amazing. In the day when I was managing managers, I used to always get into it, the used car director. Jim, I can sell my way out of it. How many times have I heard that?
Yeah.
Aaron,
I don't think I mentioned it to you. But
well, in the past, we'd always say, hey, look, the loss is already there. You just haven't realized it. Well, now the loss isn't there because it's actually going up in value. It's becoming more valuable. So it's like you got to buy every single car you can right now, because they're going to cost more in 60 and 90 days than what they do now.
Oh, I used to say, look, if it hasn't sold, there's a reason it hasn't sold. Well, I can't replace it at the auction for what I've got in it. Sell it.
Yeah, I was going to mention to Aaron, Jim, we had a dealer, I won't mention the state, but he called and wanted to buy all of our new car inventory at our JLR and Land Rover store for $3,000 over invoice.
Really?
And he was going to pay the shipping, all of it. And then we'd have nothing. We only got 42 cars left on the ground right now. Yeah.
In the 80s, when I was with Dyer and Dyer Volvo, we went from 40 units a month to 850 units a month in a year and a half. And Volvo could not produce the inventory. We had guys running around with negotiables in Canada, changing out to Speedos. We were selling it as pre-owned. I mean, it was amazing how to get inventory. today we're in that same situation. You've got to be able to get the inventory, whatever you have to pay for. Would you agree, Joe?
Absolutely. Like I said, you can't sell from an empty shelf, and you got to have the stuff, because believe it or not, there's a lot of guys out there that are afraid. And you know, when you get a market or an atmosphere like that, man, you got to take advantage of it, and you got to get out there and you got to get aggressive, you know, and just take all you can.
Let's talk about the future one more time. I picked up Automotive News last week. 3/4 of the articles are about electric cars. 3/4 of Automotive News is about the electric vehicle introductions. You know, the Mach-E. Every manufacturer's got some electric car. Where's that going to land, Aaron? Where's that going to land?
You know, so if electric cars become a thing and customers want them, we're going to sell them, and we're going to sell a lot of them. But customers don't want them right now.
No, they don't. There's not a mandate. There's no mandate for self-driving or electric.
So we're going to sell 50,000 cars this year, and we're going to probably sell 3 or more electric cars out of the 50,000. That's the number. And so there's a couple reasons why do customers not really want them? So if you look at, like, okay, I call it the Tesla effect. So Tesla's having some success selling electric cars. Most of them are in California and Oregon because they have huge tax incentives out there. And then the only reason Tesla's making money is because everybody has to buy tax credits from them, right? So customers buy cars for the most part based on monthly payments. And
absolutely, that's what drives the sale.
If you take an electric car and it's $10,000 more than a gas engine, it prices it right out of the market on a monthly payment, first thing. Second thing is gas is inexpensive. Even though it's gone up $1 a gallon since our new administration is in, it's still inexpensive. Gas engines have become very, very fuel efficient. We have vehicles that will go 700-800 miles on one tank of gas. And then you can stop and fill your car up with gas in 5 minutes and be on your way. So with an electric car, if you got to charge it overnight or whatever, even if you got to stop and charge it for a couple of hours, customers aren't going to do
400 miles.
Yeah.
400 miles.
And then if a customer, and then the first thing you tell them is, hey, by the way, call an electrician and you got to go spend $1,500 to put a charger in your house. They don't want to do that. They don't want the inconvenience. And we don't have the infrastructure in the United States. So I think that when these companies come and say, hey, we're going to be fully electric by 2035, well, the CEO
That's the number.
The CEO knows that they're not going to be running the company in 2035. They're going to be retired, so they can say what sounds good for their stock price right now. And guess what? When they say that stuff, their stock price goes up. But I just don't see it. And they've tried time and time again to come out with the electric cars, and they just lose their butt on them. The last time
we know they do, but you know the politicians are almost mandating this. I'm wondering whether they're going to legislate it.
Yeah, so they're obviously trying to legislate it, but you can't force a consumer to do something they don't want to do and that they don't understand, and that's an inconvenience for them. So if you look over the next 15 or 20 years, we're going to have different legislatures in there, right? So you've got a group right now that is all about electric. The last group wasn't about that. So it's going to kind of go back and forth, and ultimately the market's going to dictate that. The one thing that I know is I got a cell phone and I can't get through the frickin' day without the stupid thing dying. You know, and that's my cell phone. So if you can't do that, I just think that the electric car thing is so overhyped. And so, but you know, they say, well, dealers don't want to sell them. No, dealers do want to sell them if people want to buy them. But we don't want to sell something that people don't want.
We'll sell anything that consumers want to buy.
Absolutely. So
if you like to buy my hat, come on.
If somebody comes out with a electric car that's the same price as a gas engine, can go 500 miles, and you can recharge it in 5 minutes, now you got something. Now people will buy that. But until you have that combination of stuff, we just don't have the technology right now. It might be there years from now or 30 years from now. It was kind of like, everybody came out in 2015 on autonomous driving. Every manufacturer said they'd have level 5 autonomous by 2020.
We're going to be the Jetsons.
Yeah. Not one of them did that. And the more they got into it, the more they realize that that's not going to happen. We'll never see autonomous driving level 5 in my life where it's going to be, in widespread use. There's just too many variables out there. And then the other thing is, I know this, my computer seems like it crashes twice a day. So am I going to trust a car to drive me 80 miles an hour?
Look at Bill's computer.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was easier.
That's
exactly. So, now, it doesn't mean that there's not a lot of great safety features that they're adding to these cars that are steps towards autonomous. But I just think the level 5 autonomous thing is a farce. And I really think that the electric thing is just not there from a technology standpoint. But every single manufacturer has tons of electric vehicles, coming out. And the dealers are kind of like, boy, I don't know who's going to buy these, but we'll see what happens. It's going to be interesting, that's for sure.
They would have to legislate it before it would work, and I don't know that that's going to happen. I mean, like you say, that we're going to change regimes several times before 2035.
Yeah.
There'll be a lot
We'll sell, just to add to the electric side. I mean, one of the companies out there, they're out of China, the NIO brand, they got a battery swap system, the BASS system, where they go in and they pull up and it takes 10 minutes and this plate comes up from the bottom and changes the battery. So you don't have to change, and they're putting these swap stations all over in China. That's kind of a unique way of how they're operating going forward. They did like 7,200 units last month, but pretty interesting on that concept. But like Aaron said, whatever it is, we'll sell.
In 2003 or 4, Malcolm Bricklin was running around the United States trying to sell Cherry franchises.
Yeah.
And I said at the time in the magazines and in all the dealer speeches I was doing, Chinese cars will never come ashore in my lifetime. Chinese cars are never going to, they'll buy existing manufacturers, but they're never going to, in crash test Chinese cars, everybody died at 5 miles an hour. So, and I was keynote speaker that year for the New Jersey Dealers Convention. And I'm looking right at, there's Malcolm Bricklin in the third row. And I said that it's never going to happen. There's Bob Sazui, the dealer sitting next to him, the only dealer that bought the franchise. I said, Bob, I guess that makes you the head of the dealer council. I have a habit of saying things like that. But anyway, Chinese cars still have never come ashore. They're master counterfeiters. I said at the time, they have a standing army of 2 million people with no enemies. They're going to start something with somebody. You look at China. China is not going to be a factor, even with the swap you're talking about.
Yeah,
I don't think electric wouldn't even work until they standardize the batteries and come up with something like the propane gas on my grill that you can change the batteries like a propane tank.
Yeah, it's interesting because they're trying to sell that as green technology, but when you think about it, what happens to a battery when you're done with it?
Exactly.
It's not very good. It's not very good for the environment, right?
Right.
I really think the way of the future is just to continue to make these engines more efficient, which they're doing, and that seems to be the path that's winning right now.
Greta Thunberg ain't gonna like you.
I think she's wrong and I'm right.
Strong possibility. So here we are. I could talk to you guys forever. We're Joe processes in the sales department. How much are the managers managing the process? How much is still done by F&I? How much is still traditional? And how much is the salespeople taking the reins and doing more of the deal?
Are you talking about like from the A to Z?
Yeah, nobody's really doing A to Z, even the A to Z to people, but it's still, how much of that are we doing?
Well, obviously BDC has a strong role in getting the folks in the door nowadays. And again, it's different stores doing different things, but the stores, that I mainly, and that's just because the shift kind of went, a few years ago from we needed more people just strictly devoted with the phones, getting people in the door. And that's how they get compensated. That's the only way they get compensated, and they do a great job with that. Once they get inside,
Stuker and Traver were head on that. Traver Technologies and Stuker. We were all around when that came about. The phone. It was the phone room.
The phone room.
Yeah. All the calls were recorded.
Yeah.
But that has morphed into something. I mean, our BDC agents, they know the product. I mean, they know how to work a deal in CDK. I mean, they're highly educated in what they do.
That's what I was trying to get at. Is your BDC working the deals, or are the managers still working the deals?
Managers are still working the deals.
Okay.
But the BDC department is able to communicate with the customer on a number level or financial level. You know what I mean? Enough to keep them engaged, keep them activated, and then, engage a manager when it's time to engage a manager. But obviously their sole purpose is to get the folks in the door, professionally and have the customer come in with, the right things in mind. We don't BS. We don't do anything else. Factual information. We get them in the door, and then we can work the process from there. And in the door, it's obviously still kind of, salesman, management. Management are more engaged now than they were back in our days. In our days, we came in when the customer was blowing up and there was a problem, or they wouldn't go down. You know what I mean? Now we're engaged. Once the salesman is with the client, our management team goes in and greets them and says hello. You know what I mean? And welcomes them for coming in. So
I've been teaching that for 35 years. You never meet the customer for the first time in combat.
You're absolutely right. Yep. And that works very well for us. And again, it's a lot easier if he has to go in later and explain, the pricing or the terms. They already know them. They've already met them. You know what I mean? It makes it a more comfortable process. And then, our finance teams, especially, here at Zeigler, I mean, it's amazing the amount of training and engagement our finance departments have, more than I've ever seen, doing this. And I was a finance guy, for a long time myself. It's amazing, how they're trained, and especially in a group way where it's very transparent. Everybody sees everybody else's numbers. Weekly, they're getting updates on each other's numbers. They see him. He's got them broken down into, different categories, and everybody's kind of competing. It's awesome. But again, now the finance department, once you consummate the deal, the finance manager comes out and makes an initial contact on the floor. It's no more this mysterious guy way back in.
Yeah, I'm still teaching that. My background, like your background, all the records I set were in F&I. I mean, I was a good sales manager, but I wasn't a record setter. All the numbers that made me national were in F&I.
F&I, yeah, okay.
So,
yeah.
How about you, Bill? How's that equate for you?
Well, I agree with what Joe says with the process. I think it's a lot of those are the same that we've been doing for years, and we've just gotten much better at it. I mean, the process today is take care of the customer. Obviously, we want to meet and greet. Even as a manager, as a leader, we want to get out there in front of the customer as soon as we can. So when that customer is in the showroom, everything needs to stop, and we need to all be engaged with the customer that comes in. And I think it's still important, and that process is changed or hasn't changed so much, other than we've just gotten so much better at taking care of the customer.
The road to the sale didn't die. We just put technology into it.
Yes, exactly. Well, it's a great experience for the consumer. And we do that. We go out there as the leader, a GM, and we're talking to the customer, shaking the customer's hand, and getting that engagement right up front. It really adds to the process, and it really makes
Bill, I go in dealerships and I see managers sitting at the desk with their head down in the CRM, and I don't see managers being engaged in so many dealerships. I mean,
Go ahead.
My management style, a manager's like a shark. They never stop swimming. They're constantly in motion.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right. You got to keep going. You got to communicate with everybody. And look, we're here to work. And we're the managers today. It's not to sit back in an office and count the numbers and finish the month and let things. There's no automatic pilot here. So look, we got to be.
I talk about a theory called hyper awareness, being aware of every deal in progress in real time. Aaron, what's your thoughts on that?
Sorry, Jim, you cut out. What'd you say?
I said, what's your thoughts on process, the road to the sale, the management involvement?
It's interesting because as much as technology plays into our business, it's still a people business. You want to buy from people. You want to buy from people that you like, right? And the value that we add as a dealer is the experience. And if we exceed a customer's expectations on that experience, they're going to come back time and time again. So, we've got we have consistent processes with our people, but it really comes back to hiring the right person that really wants to make a customer happy. And if you hire the right person that does that, then you're gonna have happy employees and you're gonna have happy customers.
It's like when you go back to you guys hire the college athletes, and you're looking for the people who already have leadership and team ability.
Yep.
That's the hiring is the key to everything else we're talking about. Is that true?
Correct.
Yeah. So.
Yep. Starts.
Aaron, the Ziegler Corporation, you guys have been on my radar screen forever and ever. I am so privileged to meet you guys today and be able to talk to you. This is an honor. Spell your name a little differently, but the fine name. If there's anything else we didn't discuss today, what would that be that you would like to tell anybody watching this broadcast?
I think the other thing that's probably made us successful is our philosophy is you hire the best people and then you let them do their job. And, we do the exact opposite of micromanaging, and we want to hire people that want to be entrepreneurs. And when they come up with new ideas, we support them on those and let them run. And, we'll do 10 new things and 9 of them will work and 1 of them won't. We don't care about the one that doesn't work. The 9 that work, we're so much further ahead on. So we're constantly trying new things and trying to get ideas from our people and letting them, I don't have all the ideas. It all comes from our team, and that's what I think has really made us strong out there, is letting the guys, run the business and letting them come up with new ideas and kind of showing us the way. And that's the way that we've been able to consistently grow throughout the years.
How about it, Joe? If there's anything we haven't talked about today, what would you like to say?
Well, Easy touched it pretty good. The big thing is as a manager and as a captain of a team, just embrace the team. Always stay positive. Always stay upbeat. Don't get downtrodden and don't get spun out. I mean, just come to work every day, and surround yourself with people, that think the same way and that live the same way. Check the ego at the door and let's come in and, we have keep that family respect thing. I mean, that's a big thing, especially nowadays, man. Respect each other, work together as a team, treat each other, as a family, and amazing things can happen. The things we're seeing in our stores right now, it's awesome. And we have a big luncheon and everybody knows each other. Everybody gets along. There's no old school service against parts and service against sales, and everybody gets along. Everybody knows what's going on.
Wait a minute, service gets along with the sales department?
We do, yeah, absolutely.
And wait a minute, every day at 5:30, there's a pickup truck in the back of every lot, and it's got a cooler full of beer. And the service guys are back there talking about the sales department.
No, us sales guys are back there with them drinking. Oh, wait, did I say that out loud? No, we don't do that.
That's every dealership in the world. I've been doing this for 47 years. Bill, what haven't we talked about?
Wow, geez. When listening to Joe and listening to Aaron, and when you look at Aaron's vision and how he thinks about the business and his whole approach, and look, as we talked, Jim, I was a dealer principal for 18 years, and I look back now and everything that I have learned in our auto group and in all the mistakes that I made in the past and things that I couldn't do without the team and to think that the style that we have, and I like to always go back and flip the triangle for me and have that servant mentality and you know what, and that's the way we got to treat our employees, and that's the way we got to drive our business and value, and they have to respect that. So we're in there to encourage and help, and not have that mentality as a manager that we got to free them to let them do their job, but then we're there right alongside of them, working with them, and that's so important as we go forward and continue to grow. And the opportunities out there is what we choose to make them, and that's what we got to do.
This has been one incredible interview. I am so pleased, Aaron. Thank you very much. This has been a great broadcast. I'm going to have it all over social media. I'll send you a copy of the finished video on MP4, so you'll be able to do what you want with it. thank you guys sincerely. I appreciate you being here today.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Sean.
My pleasure.
Honor.